I have watched a ton of mortgage crash videos over the last few years, and man, we're getting some interesting data that things are about to change. And when I say change, I think personally changing a lot faster than people think. Is the market going to get shot out of a cannon? Are we going to get all this buyer demand? We're going to look at that. But here's something that I know is going to make a huge difference. And I can tell you, I have not seen this in a long, long time.
We're back 7:41 in this morning on today's Consumer, your guide to the fall real estate market.
And it's kicking off with encouraging news. Mortgage rates are falling, with the 30-year fixed rate now at its lowest point in nearly a year.
This is good news. Here with everything buyers, sellers, and owners need to know, NBC's senior business correspondent Christine Romans. Christine, so what are we hearing about these mortgage rates?
The housing market has been in a deep freeze for about 3 years. Signs of thawing, maybe. You've got these mortgage rates falling a bit here. 11-month low, 6.29% is the 30-year fixed, 15-year fixed, 5.7. So that's some significant savings if you are able to lock in a lower mortgage rate here. In part, these mortgage rates are falling in anticipation of the Fed cutting those rates, but maybe it'll be the first in a series of rate cuts, and that would be good news for the American housing market.
This in mind, then, is now the time to get into the market?
You know, if you need to move for your job or you're trying to find a better school, I mean, then yes, you should try to find a way to move into this mortgage market right now.
Hey everyone, this is Race Robinson, your favorite Florida mortgage broker. And that's right, that's the mainstream media saying, maybe it's not a terrible time to buy a house. And if rates fall, and that's what we're going to look at, you're going to see that trend continue. So let's look at rates first, kind of see where we're at. Look at this 6.27. And to give you an idea just how good that is, look at the trend. It was 2 seconds ago, we were close to 7.5%, ranging between 7.5 and 7.25. That was the beginning of the year. Look at this drop this week, and now we are down to 6.25%. How much of a savings is that? So if we look at a $400,000 mortgage, and at the beginning of the year, the principal and interest payment was close to $2,800. Where rates are today, it's already a $334 a month saving. Or said differently, that same buyer, if they want to buy a more expensive house, qualifies for more than $50,000 in purchase price, and they did just at the beginning of the year. And look, if we look at rates of 5.75, that's almost $500, $463 from where we're at. These are big changes because people buy on payment, and affordability hasn't really happened with dropping home prices. It has happened with seller concessions as the market's gotten softer. But if rates fall, that just makes payments lower across the board. But I want you to look at this mortgage spread, and this is fascinating when you understand how the mortgage market works. So this is an article that I found from Resi Club, a service that I love to use because they really do a good job covering and understanding and looking forward to the mortgage market. So understanding the mortgage spread and how it could help to lower mortgage rates in 2026. I do not want to get too into the weeds on this, but this is a spread that the bond market or investors keep, and it's a spread between the 10-year Treasury yield and the 30-year mortgage rate. The more narrow the spread, the lower the rates. And you can see it's been down as low as 138 basis points, and it has really shot up to 300. And just like rates being higher means more risk in the market, the investors or the market has kept this spread at over 228 basis points. Now, I like this chart here because it just keeps it simple. Is if the spread normalized to the 1.76% points instead of 2.28% points, which is where it would normally be, the average, rates right now would be 5.98%. Meaning that when that spread collapses, because it's collapsing already, just that is going to push rates down up to 0.5%. That means instead of rates right now being 6.5%, we're already in the high fives. And that means that every time we've hit 6%, mortgage applications have jumped. We're up 20% year over year. And I can promise you, if rates get down to that, if the Fed lowers the Fed funds rate and the spread between the 10-year Treasury and the 30-year mortgage rate collapse, you're going to get lower and lower rates as the year goes on, and faster than what people think. At the beginning of the year, I predicted rates to be around 6.375. We're already there. In fact, we're better than that. We are even getting some people paying points and things like that, potentially getting higher rates even right now. And on FHA and those kinds of things, rates are actually already in the fives. That's good news for buyers. Now, what's the market going to do? Look at the Fed. The Fed is meeting on September 19th, I believe, or sorry, September 17th, and 92% of the market believes that the Fed will cut the Fed funds rate a quarter from where we're at now. But more interestingly, look at the next meetings. I was kind of looking at the October meeting, which is the next one after. They're pricing in another quarter, 81% of the market. And in December, the Fed is pricing in, or the market is pricing in the Fed to do another 0.25% cut. That means over the next 3 meetings, the market is picking or expecting a 0.75% or 75 basis points cut in the Fed funds rate, which will lower interest rates. Now, that's already starting to get priced in, which is why you see rates have dropped. They could cut more. There is some indication the Fed could cut 50 basis points in this next meeting, but only by a small margin. But that seemed impossible a couple months ago. So what would I do with this information? If I was a real estate agent, where's the puck going? The puck is going to buyers. There's a lot of pent up buyer demand. There's more inventory, and buyers right now, they're just saying the payments are too high. That buyer demand is going to come online at some point. I think it's going to be as we get rates below 6%. If you're working with buyers, it's a whole different strategy. How's your buyer's presentation? And I will tell you, I know this sounds a little self-serving, but the lender that you work with will make a big, big difference in the amount of income you make as buyers come back into the market, because these are not going to be your move-up buyers with big, big down payments. They're sitting down there with 2 and 3% rates. You're going to see buyers coming in, first-time home buyers, need a lot of attention, a lot of help, a lot of different programs. You don't have somebody that does that, reach out to me. I've been working with first-time home buyers for 22 years, and there's more help out there than ever before. If you're a buyer and listening to this, look, as more and more buyer demand comes on, it's going to get more competitive. Are we going to be in a bidding war? Probably not. But the really, really good houses are going to go fast because they're already going fast. And if rates get below 6%, that's just going to continue. So that's all good news. There are some spoilers with tariffs and inflation. If these things were to change, meaning we showed more inflation, we look at the inflation data and inflation starts coming up, that's going to put the Fed in a weird position because the unemployment data is getting worse. So we're going to see how that all plays out. I really don't think it's going to be enough to change the trajectory where we're at, which is at least 3 rate cuts this year. I'm going to pay attention to unemployment data, this mortgage spread, inflation data, so that we have a good indication where rates are going. But you need to be brushing up your buyer's game right now, because I think that's going to be the trend as this market goes on. We're going to get back over 4 million transactions, get closer to 5 million over the next couple of years. And that's good news. Hey, everyone, this is Race Robinson, your favorite Florida mortgage broker. Have a great day, great week, and I'll talk to you soon.